Section 1.5 is about division, and so the objective here is to divide whole numbers. Now in section 1.4 we talked about multiplication, and that multiplication can be thought of as repeated addition, and so division of whole numbers can also be thought of as repeated subtraction. For example, let these 11 circles represent 11 apples, and we want to see how many subsets of 3 we can get from these 11 apples. So we have one subset of 3, we take 3 away, so it's 11 minus 3 minus 3 again, minus 3. And so that means we have 2 left over. That's called the remainder. So here's a remainder of 2. So we can say 11 divided by 3 equals 3 with a remainder of 2, if we look at this as repeated subtraction. Next, we have some new terminology for you here for your math vocabulary. When we write 20 divided by 5, then 20 is called the dividend, and 5 is called the divisor, and 4 is called the quotient. In other words, the result of dividing 20 by 5. That's called the quotient. Alternately, we can write it as 20 divided by 5 with a fraction bar, or typically this reads 5 divided into 20 equals 4. Again, these representations with a division symbol, or with a fraction bar, or with this symbol here, 5 into 20, they all mean the same thing. So these are equivalent representations of division. Here's the formal definition of division. The quotient a divided by b, where b is not 0, is that unique number c for which a equals b times c. In other words, the definition shows the relation between division and multiplication. For example, we can say that 20 divided by 5 equals 4 because 20 equals 5 times 4. So you want to think about that and let that sink in. And so it means we can check our work of division by using multiplication. So divide and then check by multiplying. Here's some exercises. So here we're dividing 9 into 45. So 9 divided into 45 equals 5, because (45) equals 5 times 9. Or here, 27 divided by 3. 27 divided by 3 equals 9, because 27 equals 3 times 9. Or 48 divided by 6. 48 divided by 6 equals 8, because 48 equals 6 times 8. Next are some basic properties of division. And number 1 is dividing by the number 1. Any number divided by 1 is that same number. In other words, a divided by 1 equals a divided by 1 with a fraction bar equals a. Specifically, 6 divided by 1 equals 6, and 15 divided by 1 equals 15. So again, this is probably not too surprising. You may have seen this before, but here it is stated directly. Next property is dividing a number by itself. Any non-zero number, this is important, divided by itself is 1. In other words, a divided by a equals a fraction bar divided by a equals 1, provided a is not equal to 0. For example, 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 22 divided by 22 is also equal to 1. And you might ask, why are these obvious properties so important? Well, you'll see it later on when we talk about equations and other things, but these are just some basic properties we need to remember. The next property is the dividends of 0. 0 divided by any non-zero number is 0. In other words, 0 divided by 8 equals 0. Fraction bar divided by 8 equals 0, provided a itself is not equal to 0. So 0 divided by 14 is 0, and 0 divided by 3 equals 0. So let's just use these properties to do some of the exercises here. For number 4, here we're dividing 9 by 9, so we're dividing a number by itself, and we know that that quotient is equal to 1. And if we divide a number by 1, we get that number back, so in other words, that's equal to 8. And 0 divided by 12, well, we just discussed the dividends of 0, that is equal to 0. And 28 divided by 28, that's the number divided by itself, it's always equal to 1. So we talked about the dividends of 0, and so 0 divided by any number other than 0, it's always equal to 0. Now it's the other way around, including division by 0. Division by 0 is not defined. Please remember that. In other words, a divided by 0, or a divided by 0 written this way, is not defined. In other words, there's no number that's equal to this quotient here. For example, 16 divided by 0, if you write it with a division symbol or with a fraction bar, either way, this is an undefined operation. So heads up, excluding division by 0, division by 0 is not defined. Please make a note of that. And as we look at some examples here, divide if possible, 0 divided by 2. If not possible, write not defined. But 0 divided by 2 means 0 divided by 2. And since 0 divided by a non-zero number is 0, 0 divided by 2 is 0. However, if we look at number 9, divide if possible. 7 divided by 0, if not possible, write not defined. So 7 divided by 0 means 7 divided by 0. And since division by 0 is not defined, we write 7 divided by 0 is not defined. So make sure you can keep those two cases apart mentally. Dividends of 0, in other words, where 0 is in the numerator, or where 0 is in the denominator. Be sure you understand the difference. Here are some exercises for division with remainder. So 3 divided into 239. Let's rewrite that over here. Divide into 239. So 3 goes into 23 7 times. So we multiply 7 times 3. That's equal to 21. So with a minus sign. And so then 3 minus 1 is 2. And 2 minus 2 is 0. We bring down the 9. And 3 divided into 29 is equal to 9. And 9 times 3 is equal to 27. We subtract that, so we have a remainder of 2. So the answer is 79, remainder of 2. Or some people leave out the comma. For number 11, we have 5 divided into 5,864. So 5 goes into 5 one time. So 1 times 5 is 5. We subtract 5. That's 0. We bring down the 8. 5 goes into 8 once. So 1 times 5 is equal to 5 with a minus. So 8 minus 5 is 3. And so the next digit comes down, so it be 36. And 5 under 36 is 7 times. And 7 times 5 is equal to 35 with a minus sign. So 6 minus 5 is 1. And bring down the next digit, it's a 4. And 5 goes into 14 2 times, so it's 2 here. And 2 times 5 is equal to 10 with a minus. And so here's the remainder of 4. So then the answer is 1,172 and the remainder of 4. That would be the answer for number 11. So for number 11, 6 divided into 3,855. 6 goes into 38 6 times. So 6 times 6 is equal to 36. There's a minus. Then 8 minus 6 is 2. You bring down to 5. 6 divided into 25 is 4. And 4 times 6 is equal to 24. We subtract that. That gives us a 1. We bring down the next digit, the 5. And 6 divided into 15 is 2. And 2 times 6 is 12 with a minus sign. So that means we have a remainder of 3. So then the answer for number 12 is 642, remainder of 3. That's the solution for number 12. So here we're dividing 45 into 6,030. So 45 goes into 61 time. So 1 times 45 is 45 with a minus, and it would be a 15 going down to 3. So 153. And that's 45 goes to 153 3 times. So it would be 15, 1, and 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. So it would be, borrow 1 would be 13, minus 5 is 8, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. We bring down to 0, and 45 goes to 184 times. So the answer is 134 for exercise number 13. Similarly, for number 14, we divide 52 into 3,288. So 52 divided into 3,288. So 52 goes into 328 6 times. So 6 times 52 would be 12. And 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 30, 312. So 6 times 52 with a minus. So that would be a 8 minus 2 is a 6, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Now we bring down the next digit, so 168, and so 52 goes to 168 about 3 times. And then 3 times 52, 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 5 is 15. We subtract, and so we find the remainder is 12. So then the answer to number 14 is 63, with a remainder of 12. So that is the answer for number 14. In the next exercise, we are dividing 6 into 4,846. So 6 divided into 4,846. So we know 6 goes into 48 8 times. And 8 times 6 equals 48. With a minus sign, so it's 0. And bring down the next digit, it's a 4. And 6 goes into 4 0 times. So we bring down the next digit, which is a 6. And so 6 goes into 46 7 times. And 7 times 6 is equal to 42, with a minus, so we have a remainder of 4. So the answer to number 15 is 807, and a remainder of 4. So for number 17, we're dividing 27 into 9,724. So 27 divided into 9,724. So that's about 3 times. 3 times 27. 3 times 27. That'd be 1. 3 times 2 is 6. And carry out just 8. So now we subtract. And so the difference is 1/6. We bring down the next digit, 162. So 27 divided by 162, that is 6 times. And 6 times 27 is 2. So 42, carry 4. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4 is 16. So it's 0. And then we bring down the next digit. And 27 goes into 4 0 times. So the remainder is simply 0. So then the answer, or the quotient here, is equal to 360, remainder of 4. The next few exercises are designed to help you learn use your calculator for dividing whole numbers. And again, different calculators work in different ways, and so these exercises are designed to help you learn your calculator, or how to use your calculator. So 19 divided into 532 is the same as 532 divided by 19, and so that quotient is equal to 28. 7 divided into 861 is the same as 861 divided by 7, and that quotient is equal to 123. 9,367 divided by 29, that quotient is equal to 323. And the quotient of 12,276 divided by 341 is equal to 36. This concludes section 1.5.